Hi guys, Peter Finch here down at Quest Golf Academy, and we have a lesson here with David Grocott, who's come all the way from Stoke for a session, and boy oh boy have we made a couple of changes. Now, won't go into too much of the details, but David had an interesting issue which he's worked very hard at, where coming into impact had a very, very flippy action, and this is something that a lot of people can relate to, where actually the angles between the wrist, the shaft and the arms were being held pretty well. The angles of attack were going down in general, but there was a big breakdown of the wrists at this point in the swing, and that club head was starting to overtake the hands, and this front arm, this left arm, was really buckling and breaking down. Now this was causing a number of issues. Strike, so thins and fats, especially with the wedges, but also ball flight and dispersion, as coming into impact, that club was either pointing left, or when did manage to get those hands pushed ahead a little bit more, it was going right. It was a two-way miss, and those are always very, very difficult to control. Now what we did is we used a bit of a combination of drills, and I have to say the difference that we made was absolutely fantastic. I was so happy with these differences, and we started with wedges, and what we really focused on with David is just simply the left wrist, because as this downswing continues and comes into an impact area, rather than maintaining the firmness in this wrist, it starts to get into more of a cupped position. So what we really focused on was doing the opposite, and actually feeling like the wrist was bowing, moving into impact. And the effect that this had very, very quickly was absolutely fantastic. But first of all, what we did is a drill, where on the takeaway, we moved it away, had a little bit of a pause, where the feeling was to get that wrist in a bow position, and then it was to move the body through without stopping. So we pause there, we get that wrist in a much more bowed position, then we restart and just rotate the body coming through impact. And the difference that this made at the point of impact was absolutely ridiculous. Now this was one of the initial tries. And look at the difference that was made already. But to make this a little bit more game orientated, we did a second one as well, just to feed into this feeling, getting that bowed position, feeling where it is, speeding it up slightly, again just feeling like the body was rotating through. And on the last one, this was actually the best strike as well, and the best shot of this little 3 practice swing period here. Taking it back. What's quite impressive as well, if you have a look at this, you know, as far as shoulder turn goes, we're not a million miles away from a full swing. Coming through, rotating that wrist, feeling like it's bowing into position, but here, just get that feeling, but not stopping. Rotating, turning, and that is one hell of a difference. Not only in the impact position, you can see more shaft lean, you can see that left wrist in a much firmer position, but also after impact, there was no, you weren't trying to flip, you weren't trying to get that release happening after. You managed to hold these angles. Now obviously the ball's gone by this point, but what this shows is that the impact was much more stable, and that was just fantastic. Absolutely superb. Now David at this moment in time plays off 7, and openly admits this is more down to his chipping than his putting. But if he can work this into his full swing, work this into his pitching, then we are going to be absolutely laughing. And it was all down to that left wrist bow and then a couple of drills. Awesome work, David. Thank you guys for watching so much. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on our other social media platforms as well. And yeah, I'm just going to be watching this for the rest of the afternoon, because that is fantastic.